Good evening and welcome to Mackin Showcase. Tonight, Mackin Showcase is proud to present Pat Novak for Hire, an original radio series airing in the late 1940s to early 1950s. While a short series, it is perhaps one of the most famous radio series of the 1940s. Dark, gritty, and mysterious, Pat Novak for Hire paints an entirely different picture of San Francisco from Eddie Mack and Private Eye. In Pat Novak's world, San Francisco is a dark, grimy, dirty place where it's hard to survive. Pat Novak works the front docks down on Pier 19. This is his story. Episode 6, Rory Malone. Original air date, May 20th, 1949. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak for Hire. Sure, I'm Pat Novak for Hire. That's what the sign outside my office says. Pat Foghorn for Hire. Oh, there are other ways to say it. But down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you gotta put your best foot forward. Especially if you want to trip up a friend. Down here, a friend is anybody who's been dead more than 10 years. And then it pays to watch out, because if you relax, someone will come along and knock you on the back of your stomach. Works out alright, though. I rent boats, and do anything you can hide in the dark. It's about all you can ask, because along the Embarcado, nothing's perfect except the heels. I found that out Wednesday afternoon. She was a lovely girl, the sort of person you expect to see in a choir loft. About 3 hours after choir practice. Her hair was red, her eyes were as cold as rigor mortis, and you knew the first time you met her that you'd been seeing her too often. Must have been about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I was walking down near Pier 19 when she pulled up alongside of me in a cream convertible.
Can I give you a lift?
You already have.
Well, is that love or reflex reaction?
What's on your mind?
You are Mr. Novak, but don't put on your tracksuit. It's a business matter.
Well, in that case, you've got a name.
I'm Con Reagan. I went by your office a few minutes ago, but you were out.
I'm in now. Go ahead.
It won't take me long, Mr. Novak. Stay away from Rory Malone.
I'm doing all right so far. Who is he?
He's important to me. I don't want to lose him, Mr. Novak, so please stay away.
Go tell a girl. I don't even know the guy.
You will, if you're not lying now. He's a prize fighter, and someone's going to try to hurt him.
And you'd rather hurt him first.
I'm willing to pay you to stay away from him.
Suppose I'm going to see him a lot. Will you pay a lot?
I'll give you $300. All right, Mr. Novak?
You know, you aren't smart, Angel. If you're pressing that hard, the other team's gonna bid too. The answer's no.
I'm afraid that's up to you, but I'm warning you. Don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yeah, that's what Mother used to say, and I'm still all right.
Maybe your mother liked you better, Mr. Novak. See you later.
I watched her for a minute as she brushed her hair back and started the car. It was nice hair, and the dress helped too. It was dark blue and had a V-neck, but the designer believed in capital letters. She pulled away and gave me a look you could take on a safari. It was enough to tell me that she was about as safe as a tap dancer on a floor full of dynamite caps. I walked up and turned in at Pier 19. When I reached the door of the office, I could see the old man sitting by the desk. He looked tired, and a year older than the Bible. His hands were shaking, his skin was coarse and the color of an old razor strap. When I walked in, he glanced up at me and looked about as happy as a cocker spaniel with a stomachache.
Yeah, I could talk to you, please, Mr. Novak.
Well, try it once. Go ahead.
I am an old man.
You want to argue or go on?
I am too old, so I must come to somebody for help. Now, my name is Hans Neumeier, and I would like you to watch someone for me.
Someone like Rory Malone?
Yeah. But you...
What is this? Save Rory Malone Week? What's eating you?
Well, I am his manager, and you do not ever hear me because I'm old and I'm not a very good manager. I guess after this fight, Rory will find a new manager. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah? When's this fight?
Tonight. Now, you don't know Rory. He's a good boy. He's a very good boy, Rory is.
Well, good boys usually don't need watching. Has he got some bad coming out?
Something's funny about this fight. He meets with the bad people and Rory is a good boy.
Yeah, I just met one. How deep do they run?
The first is a fellow by the name of Joe Schlegel. Now, he is a bad man, a gambler, yeah. Please, Mr. Novak, you just watch Rory tonight and see that he is alright, no?
Are you that rich?
Oh, please, I do not have much money. Just $300, maybe. It's what I get from the fight. Maybe 300. I don't know. I just get a little money.
It's a tie, Pop. I guess you win the toss.
Please, if you don't help me...
You win, Pop. When do I look at him?
Tonight, you come before the fight. In the dressing room, I show you to Rory, and you see that he is alright, yeah?
Yeah, about 9?
Yeah. Oh, please, Mr. Novak. I thank you all my life. If you watch Rory, I thank you all my life.
Yeah, well, I'm getting short shift on that. But I suppose that's not your fault, Pop. See you at 9. I felt sorry for him when he turned and walked out of there. I could afford it. For $300 you could buy a lot of crying towels. At the door he turned and smiled once before he shuffled out. He moved down the pier in a nervous, uncertain motion like a flower petal in warm wind. When he disappeared, I took a cab and rode up to the press club. I found out a lot about Rory Malone, and most of it was good. He was a lightweight, and Hans Neumeier had picked him up and brought him through the prelims up to the main event stuff. He was fighting tonight against a Cleveland boy named George Zarek, and betting was even. I ran into a Chronicle man whose wife divorced him and named the fight club his correspondent. He said not to worry about Joe Schlegel, that Rory Malone fought for purses, and that's all. He knew about the girl Con Regan, but he didn't want to say much, just that she was a fast 5-gated horse trying for 7. Well, I had some dinner and went out to the arena about 8:30. When I walked into Rory Malone's dressing room, Hans Neumeier wasn't anywhere around. I stood over in the corner and watched him get ready for the fight. There was enough liniment being thrown around to keep the old ladies home spry for years. The other handlers were in, watching them tape up Malone and put on the gloves. Most of the people cleared out then. Malone shadowboxed a minute before a second, threw a robe around his shoulders and shoved him through the door. As he passed, I fell in beside him and we started walking under the arena. A few feet down, I bumped up against him.
Sorry.
About what, Hans Neumeier?
Hey, who are you?
Where's Neumeier?
And what do you care?
My name's Novak. I'm supposed to meet him here. Do you know where he is?
Nah, he didn't show up. He's probably out drunk.
Does he drink?
No.
Well, then that's a funny answer.
Okay, I don't know where he is. All I know is I need him tonight. I gotta get up in the ring.
I'll go with you.
And suit yourself.
You gonna win tonight?
You never know.
Sometimes you do.
Mister, you're either too smart or you're too dumb.
What's the difference? You can fight twice in one night.
I gotta talk to you, Rory.
No, not now, Kitty, after the fight.
Please, Rory, talk to me now.
Kitty, you're crazy. This guy's standing around. There are a lot of other people. What do you want to do? Put in the radio?
Where's Hans? He hasn't been around. Where is he, Rory?
I don't know, Kitty. If I knew, I'd get him.
There's something wrong, Rory. I've been watching, and I know there's something wrong about this fight.
Yeah, well, there's only gonna be one guy fighting if you don't let me out.
Don't brush me off like a dumb fly. I know there's something wrong. I don't want you to get into trouble.
All right, Kitty.
Don't say all right when you know how I feel. All this talk about you and Joe Schlegel. Oh, please, Rory. You don't know what it's like to see somebody you love go crazy.
Your dough is safe, Kitty.
That doesn't count. You know that doesn't count, Rory. The little money I saved up doesn't count next to you. Oh, please, Rory. Please don't do anything. I'd die of terrible heartbreak. It hurt me all my life.
Stop it, will you, Kitty? Now stop crying, okay? Just stop crying. Don't worry. I'll win, okay?
Just don't let anything happen, Rory.
No, I won't. Okay, I'll see you after the fight. You coming, Novak?
Yeah.
And
You're real good with your women there, Malone.
after this fight, I want to match with you, Novak.
I met 2 of them, and they both have you in their dream books, right on the flyleaf.
I'll remember once you talk some more.
I'll talk enough to tell you that you're being followed about 12 inches behind.
That's right, Malone. Keep walking. Turn in the next door.
Wait a minute.
You better walk, Malone, unless you want to outrun a bullet.
You too, mister.
Hey, I agreed an hour ago.
All right. Open the door up for him, Eddie.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You stand over there now, Malone. Take off your gloves.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it.
You're gonna be eating teeth now if you don't take off your gloves.
Help him, Eddie.
Yeah, that's it.
Hold him on the other side, Steve. Put his hand on the table. Eddie, now give me the block. Yeah, you can cry, Malone. It's gonna hurt.
Oh!
Hold him up! Keep his hands out there, Eddie! Put the gloves back on, Malone.
No, I can't. It's too smashed up.
It'll hold the pieces. Put it on!
Better put it on, Malone. You're overmatched.
That's it. Now go up there and take a good look.
Why don't you loan him the gun and he'll win in 2 rounds?
Look, mister, I don't know who you are, but I'm sick of your mouth. It's a big floor, so stretch out! Ow!
During the next 2 hours, they either moved me or the arena because I woke up in an alley down near the Golden Gate Theater. It was in the back of a restaurant, and I was lying there trying to look good in a mixed green salad. My head was about the size of a diving bell, and my clothes were so rumpled and dirty I looked like a leg man for the Hobo News. I tried to get to my feet once, but it wasn't easy. It was like trying to push a basketball through a stovepipe. I think it was close to 11 when I got out on the street. I didn't even buy a newspaper to find out about the fight. I grabbed a cab and headed up to my apartment to iron out my spine. It was a good idea, but the girl at the desk had a message from Hans Neumeier. He was out at the California General Hospital and wanted to see me right away. When I got there, he was in the ward at the end of the 3rd floor, but the duty nurse wouldn't let me by. She was a real pretty nurse, if you like pure mammal. Somebody buzzed, and when she oozed down the hall, I ducked into the ward and started looking for Hans Neumeier. It was dark, and he was way down at the end behind a white screen. He looked tired, and his eyes were moist and soft like a ripe fruit that's just been squeezed too hard.
Please, Mr. Novak, you come to see me, yeah?
Yes, just as soon as I got your message.
Oh, you make mistake with Hans. I don't send message.
Somebody wants to be your secretary. What happened to you?
In my room. I just go to my room. Somebody's there, yeah. I don't know. Rory is all right.
I limped a little, mister. Your boy got his hand smashed.
Rory's a good boy.
He's got a good girl. Who's Kitty?
She's go with Rory long time. Yeah, save money to marry him.
Wait a minute. Keep still.
Something's the matter?
Yeah, somebody's coming. Down this way, coming up behind that curtain.
Oh, maybe Rory come to visit me.
Whoever came to visit him didn't stay too long. The old man leaned back in the bed and quit without any fanfare, like a long summer coming to an end. I went out to get the nurse and found her down at the end of the hall giving an intern some greedy talk. She hadn't heard the shots and they hadn't seen anybody come out of the ward. I told her as much as I could. Then she wheeled the old man into another room and called homicide. That call to homicide didn't help because from now on things weren't going to improve. I was fighting a forest fire with a can of kerosene. About 20 minutes later, Inspector Hellman showed up. He was full of finesse and fury, and he came charging over as graceful as a lame lobster.
Hello, Novak. You're up late?
I had company most of the time.
Yeah? Did he bore ya?
Somebody got tired of him. It happened to be down there behind a screen in the ward.
Who is he?
Guy by the name of Hans Neumeier. He manages a fighter named Rory Malone.
Yeah?
The killing's mixed up with the fight fix.
Yeah, the Zarek fight.
That's right. They got to Rory Malone 10 minutes before ring time.
You got a thin story, Novak.
Look, I got a fat one, and I got all the gambling dough downtown in my side. The old man got it because Roy Malone was dumped in that fight.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
You don't have to believe it, Hellman. They smashed him up good. His right hand was so limp that old piece of lettuce when he climbed into that ring.
Well, they should have smashed both of his hands.
What?
Because Rory Malone won that fight by a knockout in the 5th round. So why don't you try another page, Novak?
When Hellman told me Rory Malone won that fight, I might as well have handed him a feather. I stood there feeling like a guy peddling dope at his sister's wedding. How could Rory Malone have won a fight without a hand grenade? When I saw that it wasn't strong enough to flatten a piece of silk on an ivory table, yet he won by a knockout in the 5th round. It pointed to one thing: Zarek had taken a dive. But why the double fix? Why had they smashed Rory's hand? It's a goofy pitch, like sending for a plumber to fix a hole in the Boulder Dam. I didn't have time to wrestle around with it because Hellman had talk on his mind.
You can't get a bookie in town to take a bet on this one, Novak.
No, not with you setting the odds.
They were that way when I got here, so don't write up a clean bill of health. The guy's dead and no one else is volunteering.
You'd muff a confession anyway. Before you tumbled, they'd have you cut it in stone across the front of City Hall.
Now, what were you doing with the old man?
Helping him over the rough spots.
Or taking him over the hurdles?
He hired me to watch Roy Malone. They were stepping up to the pace on his boy.
For instance?
For instance, Joe Schlegel. Everyone said he had a stake in this fight.
Yeah, well, you don't throw a fight by winning it in the 5th round.
That's what the book says, but sometimes the book's wrong. You better look up Joe Schlegel, and on the same trip you can stop by and see a gal named Con Regan.
Yeah? Why?
She's Malone's new sparring partner, a tall redhead with lots of dry cells.
Oh, yeah, she sounds nice. I'll talk to her, and Schlegel too. But I'm gonna find out about you and Rory Malone first. I'm gonna run down the stuff on this fight, and I'll find out where you fit in. Now, don't worry, Novak. I'll pick you out.
You couldn't pick the jelly out of an omelet, Hellman. Look up the girl and Joe Schlegel. They'll talk.
Not about each other.
There's some connection there. I'll give them even money. They're friends.
Well, they ought to be.
What?
They were married a month ago in Las Vegas. Or don't you know about love?
Hellman stood there a moment and smiled, like a guy who's just killed a landlord. Then he turned around and walked out. Well, I stayed until they wrapped the old man up, and after that I went to the Chronicle office and folded clips on Joe Schlegel. He'd been on 3 jails and gotten his master's at Alcatraz. There were some pictures of him at the racetrack. He had a face any museum would buy and a forehead so low he must have looked down to see his hairline. There was one other thing about him I noticed. He was the same guy who smashed Rory Malone's hand. I began to wonder about that friendship, but it was late and I had to work fast, so I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer named Jocko Madigan. He's a smart guy until he decided a head on your beer was more important than a head on your shoulders. I finally found him in a little joint down on Gary Street, talking to a woman into giving him up all the men under...
Oh, Patsy, I missed you in a rather trivial way.
All right, Jocko.
I'm giving this woman a little lecture on diminishing returns.
Jocko, will you stop drinking long enough to listen?
Patsy, you fail to understand my drinking. Actually, I hate whiskey, but I go on drinking as a sort of salt to Providence.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows the guardian angels take care of small children and tipplers. And since I've passed the age where I look good in rompers, this is a very clever dodge to get a little outside help.
Jocko, you ever gonna change?
Patsy, I don't know what a burden change is to a man as old as I am.
Yeah, boy.
You see, it's not the change we mind, it's the way it happens. By the grace, never giving you a chance to remember anything else. Oh, it's heartbreaking, Patsy.
All right.
It's like visiting a half-forgotten neighborhood. It hasn't changed completely, just parts of it. A few old houses and some human remnants are still around. Enough to remind you of the change, but never enough to make you happy. It's that way with growing old.
Will you listen?
They don't allow you to grow old suddenly and then leave. They insist on this policy of having you dribble off into eternity. It's undignified, Patsy. Feeling like a bowl of old dishwasher with a stopper pulled out.
Jocko, I want to talk
Why
to you.
didn't you say so? What's the matter?
An old guy named Hans Neumeyer is dead.
Bless him.
Homicide's full of fever. They think I killed the old man.
What did he do before he doing it.
He was a fight manager. He hired me to watch his fighter, Rory Malone. He should have hired a team because somebody got to him in the hospital tonight.
That's evident.
I was just passing through when the noise started.
Well, that's General Custer's problem.
It's tied up with the fight tonight. Neumeier was afraid of a gambler named Joe Schlegel. He was around tonight, smashed Malone's hand before ring time.
That's a hard way to lose.
It's a harder way to win. Malone won by a knockout in the 5th.
Was he fighting his father?
I'm not getting any place, Jocko, and I'm doing it in a hurry. It's a bad deal all the way around. It took 2 tries to get the old man, and if Schlegel brought the fight, then why did he smash Malone's hand?
Let's have a drink.
Jocko, you gotta help me.
What's the thirst? That's confusing.
I want you to go up to Rocky Malone's place. His address is in the book. Go through his stuff and try to pick up a lead, will ya?
Why don't you do it?
I'm gonna look up a girlfriend named Con Regan. She's married to Schlegel, and she's trying to work Malone into the act.
Well, in that case, I'll be in the way.
Look, I'm on the spot, Joko. Now get up to that apartment right away.
What if Malone walks in and finds me going through his stuff?
Stop worrying!
I almost killed the man with one broken hand. Suppose somebody smashed the other one.
Well, I had to do something quick because the kettle was on the boil. By the time Hellman got him, Schlegel would have had an alibi, and a story about how he smashed the hand wouldn't prove a thing. I had to grope around and pretend like a guy on the second verse of the national anthem. I decided to tag by Schlegel's place on the way, and I bought a paper to read about the fight. Malone looked real bad for 4 rounds and then came out of the woods fast with a left hand in the 5th. It was about midnight when I got to Schlegel's apartment. Began to look more like it when Con Regan opened the door. I could see Rory's point. She was the kind of woman you'd never give a second look, because the first one would paralyze you. Her red hair was brighter now, and well, legs like that are the reason silkworms are born. She smiled, and you knew if you never made Naples, you could die happy with her. But I guess she picked her friends.
It's too late for the 300 now, Mr. Novak.
I'm working free. Invite me in.
Sorry, darling.
You look lonely. Where's Schlegel?
I agreed to marry him, not follow him.
Well, how about Malone? Somebody killed his manager.
I'd like to help you, Mr. Novak, but I don't like you well enough.
Well, you can make love later. Give me answers now. Where are you going?
You're not welcome.
I want to know what those bags are packed for.
I don't trust the drawers. Now get out of here, Mr. Novak.
Calm down and put the gun away.
Get out of here. You came uninvited. I'll kill you the same way.
Hello, Novak. Gonna lose an argument?
Looks that way. If she's yours, call her off, Malone.
You're too tough, Con. Let him walk out.
He steamed in here full of questions.
Well, that's a bad way to answer them. So why don't you relax?
That's what your man Neumeier is doing. Somebody killed him tonight.
Yeah, I know that, Novak.
Your eyes aren't very red.
Well, I can't help it, Novak. All I can do is square his beef.
Start with your girlfriend. She's leaving town. Or did you buy the tickets?
What's your hurry, Con?
If I want to leave, I can leave, Rory.
Well, I'll argue with you.
But you'll get the short end, Rory, because I'm leaving.
No, you are
Stay away from
too
me.
close!
Ow, Rory, stop it! Someday they'll match you even, Rory.
Maybe it's the referee. I'll get it. Yup.
You got a deep voice, Miss Reagan.
What's on your mind, Hellman?
Joe Schlegel right now. He cleaned up on tonight's fight.
Not with betting even.
No, it wasn't. Not after the first round. You know, word got out that Malone broke his hand. The betting changed.
Schlegel covered every bet in the house.
That's right.
The old man tumbled before it happened. That's what he was afraid of.
The shot killed him.
Schlegel did. You've got a motive now, Hellman. You better look at him up.
Yeah, we did. He's dead.
He couldn't be dead.
Well, if he's not, the bullet holes are good fakes. I'll see you soon, Novak.
Well, I didn't talk to the girl and Rory because I knew they'd dummy me up, and I had nothing to go on. It was like trying to build a wall out of jellied consomme. Nothing added up now. Whose side was Rory on? Where did that other girl, Kitty, fit in? My luck was on the black market tonight, and I knew it. So I went by my place to check on Jocko. He was in the kitchen, and he looked worried.
Oh, Patsy, I was gonna break open the thermometer until I found this bottle in the closet.
All right, Jocko, what'd you find out?
That it pays to know Joe Schlegel. There's a $20,000 check in Malone's desk. Schlegel signed it.
He can afford it. Somebody killed him an hour ago.
Where was Malone?
I don't know, but that's not gratitude.
Maybe it was regrets. You better get up there. All his stuff is packed for a long trip.
Well, well.
Couple of trunks, all his bags. Does that sound like a weekend party?
I don't know, Jocko. He's kind of a fancy. Maybe he likes a lot of laundry. Up to now, it was like trying to melt a pound of diamonds, but when the turn happens in a hurry and things began to fall faster than a snow off of a warm roof. If Jocko was right, it meant Rory and the girl fought, but they did a lot of clinching between rounds. Well, I got a hold of Hellman, and I brought him up to date, and I started for Rory Malone's apartment. When I got there, Hellman was outside the door listening, as quiet as a washing machine full of pebbles.
And they must be in the back room. I can't hear a thing.
You couldn't hear a rifle shot in a boxcar, Hellman. Let's get a better view.
Hello, Novak.
You're gonna miss your train, Malone.
I don't believe you.
It's a chance to bet, Mr. Novak.
This is Inspector Hellman from Homicide.
Well, you've guessed wrong, Inspector. I'm covered for Joe Sligo. Novak here is alibi for Miss Reagan. Yeah, we can check. You're scraping bottom, mister.
We can start with the $20,000 check from Joe Sligo.
That's where you'll stop, too. The $20,000 covered the sale of my contract. The fight commission can beef. But that's all. You ready, Con? Well, I hope you are, too, because you're going downtown. Look, fella, you make us miss the train, but we'll catch the next one.
You're wishing now, Rory.
Who's this?
A fast friend with a slow burn. Hello, kitty. Your boyfriend's gonna leave. Say goodbye.
Rory, you're crazy to go with her.
She makes me that way, kitty. I'm sorry.
Rory, I've done too much for you. I kept loving you all this time. You can't leave. You can't leave now. I don't want to be alone.
Yeah, buy a dog.
No, Rory. No, I won't let you go.
You're not too good with guns, so you drop it.
Better take her, Hellman. She's anxious.
Oh, please, Rory. I loved you too much for this. I loved you enough to kill somebody. You can't leave, Rory. You can't leave me to myself.
When the guy comes, you tell him where the baggage is.
What'll become of you, Rory Malone? What'll become of you, Rory Malone, when you have to think about me? When you hear the sound of me in your head? You're brave, Rory. You're brave to leave me alone.
Come on, Con. In a place like this, we're wasting you.
Come back, Rory Malone. Come back long enough to watch them laugh at me. Watch them laugh at me for the fool I am. Oh, it's the great fool of the world I am.
Well, it doesn't prove much. Except the right kind of a heel can grind you into the dirt fast. Hellman pieced most of the story together. Sligo and Malone planned the fight together, and it went off without a hitch. Sligo bought off the other fighters so Malone could win as soon as the bets were covered. Hans Neumeyer had an idea, but he liked Rory too much to believe it. They found he was coming to me, so Con Regan tried to scare me off. She looked too good to Rory, and this game started to grow. He lied to Sligo after the fight about Neumeyer, so Sligo went to the hospital and killed the old man. That left Sligo around to cloud things up, so Rory Malone told a phony story to his girlfriend Kitty. She loved him enough to kill Sligo. There was no way to stick Rory Malone. He could never fight again with that hand, but he had a check for $20,000 to start on. That's enough to keep love in the living room. Well, Hellman asked only one question. Why would a smart gambler like Sligo take a chance on giving Malone a check for $20,000? I guess Malone found out when he tried to cash that check, because Joe Sligo was big-hearted, but broke. Tonight, Mackin Showcase brought you Pat Novak for Hire. Episode 6, Rory Malone. Original air date, March 20th, 1949. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Featured in the cast was Isaac Stakonis, Avery Martinez, and Mackenzie Everett. The script belongs to the original writers and owners of the original characters. We only redid the script to tell an amazing story of a very, very interesting character. We hope you have a good night, and we wish you a warm and heartfelt good night from Mackin's Showcase.